Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to BioShock Infinite. Rewards, it says, eh? That's the door we came out of. Looks like they've rather cleverly hidden the front desk behind us, though. Alright, now that that's done with, let's check out the Rise of Columbia here. Oh, what the hell? Wasn't as visually interesting as I was hoping. By the way, there were actually Americans involved in the Boxer Rebellion. But, of course, the Flying City did not just show up in Peking and start bombing everything in real life, so... I believe the American forces in China weren't really reinforced from the mainland, but they were fine. It was mostly a British affair, and the British sort of took care of everything.
We have company.
We do indeed.
Why are you following me?
We were already here.
Why are you following us?
Aperitif.
Let me just finish getting some clothing here. These are actually pretty good. I believe they're part of the DLC. Because I think this restaurant was mostly empty before I got the season pass. Certainly weren't all these infusions everywhere.
Nice.
My strategy, by the way, here is to get one infusion of each type to begin with. And then once I've got just a little bit of an edge, I am going to dump everything into salts, because salts make this game a lot more interesting.
You'll find that handy in a pinch.
The difference between life and death.
So yeah, more salts. All the salts. And the bar doesn't actually grow, it just condenses.
What was that?
Surprising.
Surprising that it worked.
Surprising that it didn't kill him.
But a magnetic repulsive field around one's body can come in handy.
If it doesn't kill you.
A fair point.
So yeah, this game has a shield. Basically it goes for the... oh, hang on.
Father Homestuck called on me today to write his biograph. Me. The man pays for exactly 100 pages in advance. Now, I'm half a Jew when I smell silver, so I say, Father, your flock would pay for 1,000. You know, why settle for less? And then the prophet looks to me and says, 100 will suffice, as I know how it ends.
Okay, so yeah, the game's strategy is basically the usual sort of hybrid system between regenerating and not regenerating health. Sort of the good old Halo system. I have to say, as systems go, it's fine.
Whoa! Damn hook must be magnetized.
Really, any version is works well enough for me. Let's jump on this guy. And thanks to my new equipment, I zap him when I land. Alright, but I did skip over this place here, so... Sadly, the doors don't open, but there's some nice stuff to get out of the boxes. Now let's see about crossing this area here. Oh, flare. Although that might actually be literal fireworks that they are using as flares, because we kind of, you know, jumped them on their 4th of July. So yeah, they got plenty of fireworks laying around. Sadly, they just aren't going towards the traps I laid. Well, that helps, though. Oh, wait. Looks like my first trap actually got somebody. Must have been one of the melee guys. Oh, shit.
As our prophet has seen, the false shepherd has come. He has come to take our...
You know, I really appreciate how those turrets are designed. How they've got that sort of wind-up noise to let you know they're there. And they've also got that flashlight, which you can use to aim at. So that's a nice system. Might be another wave incoming. I mean, besides that one guy. I mean, I've heard that one guy around already. Ah, that got somebody. Although I do have to wonder what they're shooting at, because it's not like I possessed anybody. Although that does give me an idea. You know something else that's interesting? There are female cops. I mean, today that's not very remarkable. But this is 1912. And at this point in time, female nurses were just starting to become a thing, and secretaries were still more often men than women. Even the sort of support roles were still dominated by men. Oh, nice shot. Alright. Almost forgot that, you know, for some reason those puddles of oil are instantly fatal. Yeah, I don't need more health. What I need is some more salts. I also need to find out where that damn turret is. Oh, there it is. It's kind of funny. Looks like it was actually half damaged already. Is that what they were shooting at? And if so, what the hell happened? Because I certainly did not possess anything. Yep. There we go. Yeah, and you know something. Uh-oh.
Everyone stay calm and lock your doors if you can. The Prophet foresaw this day would come, and he is prepared. The answer is not in panic, but in prayer.
Yeah, that's nice. Let's see what's down in these skylights here. Don't even have to break the windows, just stand on them. Yeah, another design element that I actually appreciate is those musical cues when you shoot somebody. That let you know what's happening even if you can't quite visually see it. So having that additional indicators, I like that. It's just too bad this scale here can't actually track my weight.
Otis works up at the lodge part-time. He took this box from one of their secret ceremonies. And I know for sure there is something dear inside. Problem is, Otis is more fool than not. He didn't bother to also secure a key from the Feathered Brothers to open the damn thing.
That's a little hint that we may have some backtracking in our future.
The rest. I'm a progressive.
Kind of weird how his voice just sort of cut in there. But one thing I do have to wonder, though, is why would even a progressive, not find Booker here to be extremely dangerous, considering all of the people he has already shot? I mean, not believing that he is the Antichrist figure, that's one thing. But not believing that he has caused an immense amount of chaos already, that's something else. Still, on the other hand, I do believe that saying that you don't want to kill a guy is a pretty good way of avoiding getting shot by that person. So I will give him credit for that much.
Violence is not the answer. As much as I support her cause and her people, blood must not be shed.
These boys were supposed to do. How could you do that? It was bound to happen.
Violence is not a foregone conclusion.
Funny note, that there picture is a very famous picture used by the abolition movement.
The one they're after. Go. They're looking for you.
Police! We're in need of your assistance!
They're here!
Shh.
By 1912, this picture is already over 100 years old. Kind of strange that they're using it for, like, an equality movement.
Alright, let's move on.
Doesn't have very good sleeping arrangements here in this underground printing press. Interesting that they've got the first portraits we've ever seen of Abe Lincoln. Ah, crap. It's kind of weird. There are two kinds of wallets. Ones you can pick up and ones you can open. Uh-oh. Yeah, they saw me. Oh, there's more fireworks. I think I was aiming for the turret there, but, you know, whatever helps. Oh, crap. Hey there. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Took longer than I thought it would.
What the...
But yes, this is what happens when you die. No reloading necessary. But actually, that hasn't been true since System Shock 2, at least. I mean, System Shock 2 had a system where you respawn at a certain amount of cost in money. And so the fact that you can do the same thing in BioShock has a very old and venerable history. Oh, there's the guy. Come on, you son of a bitch. Alright, he's dying now. Oh, that asshole. I didn't realize he would run after me like that. Son of a bitch. Oh, Wild West show.
Comstock came by the wagon at dawn. Man was just transfixed by my trophy scalps. Asked about the white ones there. I said, well, sir, if your quarry dwells in the jungle and beds down with the local color, why split hairs? Not a chuckle out of him. Either he ain't seen a man go native, or maybe too many. Anyhow, now he's got me hunting down this Daisy Fitzroy. Hope he don't expect me to stuff and mount her. Yeah.
A lovely man. They really hate these Vox guys, don't they? I think that's it for around here. Looks like the guy's inside the, Okay, maybe there's... Okay, that sounds like that was not someone out to kill me, but just the people inside panicking. Which is a little irregular, but okay. I'm just glad that they made it through safely. Now I've just got to search around this place a little bit more, find, you know, every last nook and cranny. That's just the way I work. It kind of looks like I can get around the corner here, but except there's an invisible wall there. Kind of worried about what's happened to the light, though. Oh, there it goes again. Well, it looks like it has something to do with this building here, but that'll have to wait until next time. But you know what? Running through that illicit press operation has inspired me. So let's head on over to Science Corner to discuss the history of writing. Origins. By its very definition, history began when humans first invented writing and began to record things on clay tablets. At first, writing was a very practical invention. Merchants would use it to keep records of their transactions. It was also pictographic, so if, for instance, a merchant purchased 100 cows, he would write a symbol which looked essentially like a hastily drawn cow, and then numerical symbols, which represented the different shapes of beads which they were already using to keep track of different quantities. As time went on, however, people figured out that writing could be used to record more than just transactions. As such, later written symbols were less based on objects and more directly based on words. The oldest poems were written in the oldest written language we know about, Sumerian cuneiform, and they told the oldest story ever written about the oldest hero, Gilgamesh. But just to be perfectly accurate, Gilgamesh's full story was discovered in the second oldest written language, Akkadian. Sumerian and Akkadian cuneiform are primarily logosyllabic languages, which means that each symbol represents a full word or syllable. This is actually true of modern Chinese as well, and you can see the pictographic roots of written language in some of the most basic Chinese symbols. For instance, one symbol, which means house, is essentially a rectangle with a triangle on top. In other words, it is the shape of a house. The symbol for person is just 2 strokes of the pen, but it resembles a person, a torso, resting on 2 legs. And if you look at the symbol for big, it's the same as the symbol for person, but with an extra stroke across the middle that makes it look like the person is holding his arms wide, as if he were describing something big. Now, the main advantage of a mostly logographic or logosyllabic script is that by representing words rather than sounds, it becomes easier to translate between languages. You might not know what an or an hombre is, but if I showed you the symbol in front of any men's room, you'd probably be able to guess that I'm talking about a man. Unfortunately, by basing a script on words and full syllables, you require a library of hundreds or even thousands of symbols, which is hard for anyone to memorize. Much like how an English speaker won't know every word in the dictionary, it's rare to find a Chinese speaker who can identify every last Chinese character. As such, the Egyptians, who basically reinvented the written language for themselves, began to use symbols to represent independent sounds instead of full words or syllables. You can actually see their progression from pictographs to consonants in the history of hieroglyphics. Other populations would borrow this idea for their own languages, and there is a definite line of progression which leads from hieroglyphs through Phoenician, Ancient Hebrew, Aramaic, and on into Greek and modern-day Latin. The great Greek addition to the written language was the introduction of vowels. Before then, every phonetic alphabet was mostly or completely consonantal, something also known as an abjad. For an abjad, vowels are either implied or else represented with accents, which may or may not be considered optional. Modern Hebrew is abjadic, for instance, as is modern Arabic. But for the ancient Greeks, the system was too imprecise, and so they upgraded the status of vowels to full characters, creating the first true alphabet, if only because the word alphabet is taken from the first 2 letters of the Greek script, alpha and beta. While there hasn't been any real innovation in phonetic symbols since then, medieval monks came up with a number of refinements to language. Throughout the centuries, they spent transcribing texts. The idea of pauses and full stops, commas and periods, is at least as old as ancient Greece, but the monks came up with concepts such as question marks, colons, and placing spaces between words so that they don't run together and possibly confuse the reader. Hard to imagine it took so long for people to come up with that last one, but there you go. Now, I should mention that innovations in language don't necessarily make them better, just a bit more convenient. After all, if true alphabets were really so superior, then everyone would have started using them as soon as they were invented. Instead, we've got dozens of scripts, still alive and in use today. Still, the smaller symbolic library of alphabets allowed Johannes Gutenberg to take the Chinese invention of movable type and the Western invention of the wine press and create the printing press. Which brings me to my next topic: how the printing press changed everything. I really don't think I'm exaggerating with my title. The printing press caused a lot of new things to happen, and I'm not just talking about how it standardized the Latin alphabet. For instance, English used to have a letter called thorn for the TH sound. But then we switched it out for the letter Y and finally dropped it completely because the printing presses we imported from Germany didn't have the letter. But as time-consuming as it was to replace the letters on a printing plate while reading backwards and often upside down, it was still so much faster than transcribing by hand that for the first time ever, everyone who could afford a book could have his or her own copy. And the printing press changed not only how many people could read, it changed how people read. Before the printing press, books were rare enough that reading would often be more of a communal affair than a private one. For instance, a Jewish tradition that's been alive since the end of the Babylonian captivity is the Torah reading, a year-round recitation of the first 5 books of the Jewish Bible, performed on the Sabbath of every week. More directly relevant, one possible reason the Catholic Church was able to maintain its doctrinal hegemony through the Middle Ages is thanks to the scarcity of Bibles. Each parish would likely have had only one copy, in Latin, and so the parish priest would have had the unique ability to read and interpret the Holy Word regardless of the state of literacy within his flock. Even in monasteries, Bibles were rare enough that they were read communally and out loud, giving the older monks the chance to correct and guide the younger ones, before any alternative interpretations could take hold. But then, as of the mid-15th century, there were Bibles everywhere. Now, books didn't go straight to mass production. That would have to wait until the rotary press was invented during the Industrial Revolution. But a good press could print hundreds of pages in the time it took a monk to copy one by hand. This gave a lot more people the opportunity to study the Bible in private, including one particular friar named Martin Luther. And because of the spread of the printing press, the influence of men like Martin Luther and later John Calvin could explode across Europe, as their writings spread 100 times faster than if they were forced to copy out their theses individually. As printing presses proliferated, literacy jumped not only because of improving education standards, but because more people had access to reading materials. The amount of published works increased exponentially, and the religious debates of the 17th century became the philosophical debates of the 18th century, which in turn became the ideological debates of the 19th century. And as the 20th century dawned, true mass production of literature and other texts began, giving birth to the mass market novel, which was quickly decried as cheapening the art and leading to the fall of civilization. Soon after that, motion pictures were invented, and quickly decried as cheapening art and leading to the fall of civilization. And then jazz showed up and really doomed us all, and if that weren't enough, rock and roll destroyed a generation, which then gave birth to the poor saps who decayed their minds by watching television. And of course now the internet is here, and that's really a herald of the apocalypse. But I'm getting off track. Because of the printing press, newspapers and the daily news cycle came into being. Scientists and hobbyists of every stripe could publish the state of the art to a mass audience in magazines and journals. Special interests and minorities, both ethnic and ideological, could have their voices heard as never before. Technical documents could be shipped to the 4 corners of the globe, allowing anyone to construct precise machines and buildings no matter where the inventors and architects lived. And if print is faltering now, it is only because the written word has found new purchase in a digital medium. Personal thoughts. Of all the things humanity has invented, I'd say there are 3 categories whose advances consistently reshape society itself: manufacturing, transportation, and communication. Manufacturing is obvious enough. The ancient ages are named after manufacturing advances. You start with the Stone Age, and the Paleolithic became the Neolithic when humans first settled down and learned to raise crops. And after the Stone Age is the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. Beyond that is the Industrial Revolution, the invention of replaceable parts, mechanization, the assembly line. Transportation is just as important. Western Europe didn't colonize the world just because they had guns. A lot of the world had guns by that point. They pulled it off because their ships could travel across the whole damn planet and no one else's could. Some of the greatest generals in history built their reputations on mobility. Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, Rommel. Steam trains and canals connected cities just as industrial quantities of goods needed transportation. And the North's railway network gave the Union a significant mobility advantage over the Confederacy during the American Civil War. American society was transformed in the 1950s thanks to cheap cars and the new highway system. And the airplane has not only redefined modern warfare, it's done more to shrink the size of this world than all other inventions. Well, all except one. Communications technology is the most important field because communication is the most important feature of humanity. Humans dominate the planet, not because we are the strongest, or the fastest, or because we can run the farthest, and we're actually good at that last one. It's not even because we are intelligent individually. We have reshaped the world because we are better able to communicate ideas and inventions than any other species on Earth. No human is ever truly alone. How do you think it is that you can understand me? I didn't invent English, and neither did you. I didn't invent computers or the internet. No one is truly self-taught. The books we read were written by others who came before us, others who read the books left for them and who wrote their works to pass on that little bit of extra knowledge they gathered for themselves. What you see around you is the culmination of millennia of effort, the combined wisdom of billions of souls, both alive and dead. If the world is smarter and better informed today than ever before, it is only because our mothers and fathers passed on everything they knew and gave us the chance to build upon it. And if the future is going to be smarter still, then it demands that we do the same for the next generation. For every new form of communication we create, we find a new way to express ourselves. For every efficiency we add, we shrink the size of the world, shrink the other that lurks behind every unknown face, and we broaden the base of knowledge which each of us builds upon. Manufacturing shapes what we can do, and transportation shapes where we can go. But communication shapes the way that we think. Thanks for joining me today in Science Corner, and I hope I'll see you soon.